And the
Got it.
record, and the record is still over here, but now it had a whole bunch of other little functions that went in there. There's like chat with other people, and I don't want to chat with other people because it's just the two of us. So we want to bring other people in this when they're watching us, and they can just comment on the thing. But anyway, I'm done.
Well, I got to add to that. So that's your end. On my end, I get a pop-up screen telling me all these words, and my options are got it or leave this meeting.
Oh,
you always record, so I didn't think you knew that part.
I didn't actually. No, I don't get those options. It's like, oh, well, movie's over, I guess. Bye.
Right. And then they said that there'd be light. No, I'm not God. I'm not even close to it.
I'm not even dog.
Nope.
Enough of them around here.
Right. Welcome, everyone, to In the Midst of the Shadows.
And we are co-hosting this event here today. Of course, I am Jason, and this is...
I am Craig.
I'm pointing up because on my screen, you're above me.
And my screen, I'm above you, too.
Okay. At least that part is...
uniform.
Yes. Thank you. I couldn't find the word.
I figured. I'm good at picking words out of people's heads.
I'm a little under the weather today, too, so it's like head full of cloud, even though this is being not recorded to the cloud, it's being recorded computer because it would go to the cloud, but the cloud is all messed up right now.
Yeah, I hear you. I'm a little bit under the weather, too. Wife and I went on 2 hikes yesterday. It totaled like 2 hours up big hills and
okay,
good exercise, but now I'm all sniffly and been fighting off something all week.
I made it to the grocery store. Does that count?
Yeah, you got out of the house. I dropped my car off at the dealership so it could get fixed today. Then I had to go to my then I had to go to my dad's and change his furnace filter because it's under his house.
Under his it's like a floor model.
Yep, it's it
was a good idea to get rid of those.
Yeah, so it's in his crawl space, so I had to get down underneath there, and that wasn't fun.
Yeah,
I mean, the worst part is he'd already been under there once that day to turn off the faucet to the pool, the water line to the pool, so it doesn't freeze over the winter.
Mm-hmm.
He could have done it right then.
Okay, yeah.
But
sometimes multitasking escapes.
Yep. Me, if I know I have to go and do a job somewhere, I think of anything else I can get done while I'm there and bring that with me.
Yes.
I'm very analytical when it comes to thinking about stuff like that, though.
I usually write a list of everything that I can accomplish while I'm there because usually I have to bring the tools that coincide with doing that little thing. So every time that I go there, it's like, okay, I'm going to need, you know what? Painter's tape would help.
Right.
If I forget this, it's really going to be, just bring some painter's tape and shut up.
It never fails, though. I always forget something.
Generally, I do too, but that just means that's one thing off my list for today. Just put on the next list.
So, anywho, those of you who have watched our show before are like going, what the hell are they talking about? Well, we're just talking about life today, man. That's all we got.
This is just a segment of our lives. It's a sliver, cross section of what we go through.
Yep.
Our processes.
Yeah, like I had a bunch of things pop into my head over the last couple of days, and one of them was a new theory on Mandela effects.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Shoot.
Because my wife sent me one on Instagram, and it was the Lucy, you got some splaining to do.
And
I love Lucy.
I love Lucy. Lucille Ball, Ricky Ricardo.
Yep. And apparently that was never actually.
I guess was his real name, but
right. Ricardo Mont, but no, that was
that's the Fancy Allen guy. That was Khan.
Yeah, but apparently they never said that in the show.
Never.
Yeah, but
Oh.
I have a theory, because any popular show since the inception of Saturday Night Live, they've done a skit on.
Right.
And if that line was never said in the show, I believe it was created on Saturday Night Live, and they did it so well that we just believed that was from the show.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I would go with that.
You know, and I think it's the same with a lot of different things. Not necessarily like Fruit Loops and shit like that, and Berenstain or Berenstein Bears.
Yeah. Is there a hyphen in Kit Kat? That type
Right. Right. But yeah, it was a thought that crossed my head. I'm like, because I mean, if you look back then, Saturday Night Live was actually good.
Right. They had a lot of great writers back then too. I mean, writers that were so so good that they were actually cast members as well. You know, it's like they were actually writers, but they brought themselves, like Buck Henry, for instance, was one that Al Franken was another one who was a writer, but then wrote himself into the show.
Right.
Eventually, you know, it's like they had a lot of interesting
talent.
So here, so you sparked me to say because that line wasn't actually said on there. So I just looked up real quick lines that we all know that were never actually said on TV.
Okay, so what are they?
Okay, first one, beam me up, Scotty.
Yeah, bullshit. That was on TV.
Kirk never said it. It was beam us up, Mr. Scott.
No, he said, because he called him Scotty a lot.
He called him Scotty a lot, but to beam him up, it was beam us up, Mr. Scott. Now there was some delivered. There's a variation of "I'm a doctor" on for Bones. The "Damn it, Jim, I'm a doctor" was never actually. He said "Damn it" and "I'm a doctor," but never "Damn it, Jim, I'm a doctor."
I can see where we could infer that. No, you think about it, because whenever he talked to Captain Kirk, he called him Jim. So I can see us just kind of putting that in our own mind. You know what I mean?
Right. Another one is "Bang Zoom Straight to the Moon" from the Honeymooners.
Yeah, I don't remember.
He said both, but never together. The matchup was never actually done. So it was always "Bang Zoom" or "To the Moon, Alice." Which let's talk about
these days.
A second.
Yeah.
There was blatant sexism and overt references to spousal abuse on that show. It was a different era, and that stuff was okay at the time. Now something like a show like that would never fly. A remake of it would never fly, because one, you wouldn't have those references, and it wouldn't have the same feel, I guess.
Right.
It would be cringeworthy today.
Yep.
But at the time, it was a funny show.
I mean, Archie Bunker wouldn't fly today.
Probably not.
I mean, racist, misogynist, homophobic.
Yeah. Just the facts, ma'am, from Dragnet was another one of these lines. He said, "All we want are the facts, ma'am," was the actual line.
I've never actually watched the show, so
I didn't either. I watched the movie with Dan Aykroyd and Tom Hanks.
Yeah, I did too.
Which has actually had an interesting soundtrack.
I don't think I remember it.
Aykroyd and Hanks actually sing on one of the tracks.
That doesn't surprise me. Aykroyd was in the Blues Brothers.
Oh yeah, but you don't really think of Tom Hanks singing, but they kind of do like this half-ass '80s rap in it too as well. So I think it was called "The Scene of the Crime" or "City of Crime." I can't remember the name of it. I can't remember the actual words, but it's been. I mean, shit, I haven't heard that since the early '80s. And then the other one was Timmy's in the well from Lassie.
Oh, let's see. What's that, Lassie? Timmy's down in the well? Is that how they said it, or?
No, he never once fell down a well.
Or they say that little fucker's in the well again?
Yep.
We passed the 30 seconds, so I'm good.
So anyway, the other one was Goodnight Gracie from the George and Gracie, or George Burns and Gracie Allen show.
Okay.
We always used to say grenade. Now these are all old references, obviously, but
right. But for us growing up in that period, they were big popular pop culture references.
Yeah. Oh yeah. George Burns was still huge.
Yep.
Back then, the thing about, if you don't know who George Burns was, he was a straight man to his slapsticks partner, Gracie Allen, who happens to be his wife. But George Burns used to he was so concerned about trying to live to 100 and wasn't sure he was going to make it. So at his 92nd birthday, they actually celebrated his 100th birthday.
I remember that.
So, and then he ended up dying at like 97 or 99 or something like that. I don't think he quite made 100, but he was very close.
Probably all those cigars didn't help. Because this man also played God.
Twice.
Mm-hmm.
With who's the guy that was across from me? He was from the MASH movie. I can't remember who it was now.
Alan Alda?
No, from the movie.
Oh, yeah, he wasn't in the movie. I don't
know. Elliot Gould. That's who it was.
Oh, okay. Yep.
Elliot Gould.
Same character, different actor.
Yeah, but he was in that. He was in Oh God, there was Oh God Part 1, Part 2, and I think there was Oh God, You Devil too. So I think
so.
3 times.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it was. I mean, of course, the movies that come out now wouldn't have flown back then.
Right.
So, it's kind of like tit for tat.
I did hear an interesting theory though, because one movie that gets thrown out there a lot that said this movie can definitely not be made today, and that's Blazing Saddles.
Yeah.
But the theory was the person's argument for being able to make Blazing Saddles today is it was satire. It wasn't mean-spirited, aimed at one group. It was all over the board.
Yep.
It shot because it played more like a spoof movie than it did about an overt, let's make fun of, let's just be racist for racists' sake.
Right.
It was kind of a satire on racism. So it was I can't remember all the points they made, but it was a really good article. I can't remember who wrote it, but it was a really good article and had a lot of good points on why that movie could be made today. Now there's other movies that were made back then that I don't think could be made today.
No. I mean, there are certain movies that will stand test time, movies like Ghostbusters or Back to the Future, because it's the underdog story.
Oh, speaking of Back to the Future, yesterday, when we're recording this, was Back to the Future Day, October 21st. But it wasn't 2015 anymore, so it's been the 8th anniversary of that. Right. But if you go through the movie though, there's like 8 different October dates, and it's actually only 2. It's like October 15th and October 21st.
Right.
But that being said, they settled on the 21st being the official Back to the Future Day, right. And that was supposed to be the day that we were going to have our Jaws 35 hologram coming out of the movie theater, and instead what we got is closed movie theaters.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and and today is my son's birthday.
Oh. Well, Zach? Yep. Okay. Happy birthday.
Thank you. That's depressing. My youngest son is 22 today. My oldest is 25. My youngest turns 18 on the 10th of next month.
Wow.
Yeah. Whereas both my wife's girls are 20 The one will be 23 in November. The other one will be 21 in January.
And mine just turned 24 last month.
Yep. Yeah, I thought he was like a year younger than Alex.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, oh, I know something I want to talk to you about. What's this? What's the scariest, edgiest movie that Disney has ever come out with in your mind?
Oh, right at the top, I would have to say Something Wicked This Way Comes.
I knew you were going to say that. Because we've had this talk before.
Mm-hmm. I could throw out that there's you could say that there's a one part of Fantasia that's pretty intense and spooky, the devil scene. But Something Wicked This Way Comes was the first Disney production that wasn't G.
Right.
And it dealt with this traveling carnival that came through that gave you your desires but took them away at a price, you know. So there was actually there was boobs in the movie.
Nice.
There was a quick glimpse, but yeah, that was it was a pretty intense movie for when did it come out? 83, 84, something. It had been earlier, 82, 83.
Wasn't it like Armored Saint that did the soundtrack or something like that?
Yes.
Awesome. So, with that in mind, I would like you to get on Disney Channel and check out the new series Goosebumps.
Oh, okay.
I watched my wife and I watched like 4 or 5 episodes of it yesterday after we got back from our hike.
The R.L. Stein Goosebumps. Yep. Now, are they based off the books, or are they just all new stories?
It is one continuous story, but different episodes shows a different person's view of it.
Oh, okay.
And what's happening to them when they're not with the rest of the group.
That's kind of what Arrested Development did in their first Netflix season. It was like the same series of events shown from different people's vantage points.
Yep. I enjoy it.
If you've ever seen the movie Go is kind of done that way too. It's the same day experienced by 3 different groups of people.
Okay.
Lives cross. Oh, that was that
Grand Canyon was similar to that too.
Uh-huh. Yeah, Danny Glover was great in that movie.
Yeah, he was.
So was Kevin Kline. There was
and Steve Martin.
It was about a traffic accident.
It was called Traffic.
Yeah. Okay, there you go. That was another one that all came back around to that.
It was Traffic or Crash, one of the two. I can't remember, but it what's up?
It was Traffic because
Oh, my wife said she thinks Love Actually did it too.
Okay, there you go. Crash was a different movie.
Okay.
Crash was a movie where people actually got off over traffic accidents, being around them.
Right. So, in Disney movies, does anybody except for the parents ever die? Let's see.
I don't recall if. No, I don't think so. I think just parents.
Yeah.
Because Mufasa dies, Bambi's mom dies. You know, it's like.
Yep. You know, Escape from Witch Mountain. The kids have no parents. You know, all
right. There's. Yeah. Well, that's one of those things where it's like that's such a niche. It's not even a niche. It's like this unwritten thing where it's like you have an orphan that as a stranger comes into their life, tells them that they're going to be great. They're the great one, the chosen one. They have great powers. And then they go on to find out that there's this whole other side of their life that they didn't know about, and they have to fight. They have an arch enemy that they didn't know about either. You can just pick and choose who you want to put in those things. Is it Luke Skywalker?
Right. Is it Harry Potter?
Harry Potter? Is it Ender? Is it
Sam and Frodo?
Yeah, exactly. There's so many of those because that story works. It's like the you could even say it. Well, I wouldn't really go I was gonna say Hunger Games would be kind of in that would not necessarily true, but like what's the other one? Divergent series. That's
Yeah.
kind of along those same lines.
Yep.
You know, hell, it even goes way back when, you know, the Seven Samurai stories, like you were kind of that way. You know, this
Yep.
Peter Parker, for crying out loud.
Apple Dumpling Gang.
Yeah. Incredible Mr. Lippet. I mean,
yep.
Speaking of old Disney movies,
right. But
I was
yeah,
just
this
talking about those the other day. Those how classic those animated live action movies were back then. Like the Incredible Mr. Lippet, Bed Down to Sticks. You know, where Mary Poppins, where they interact with cartoons.
Yeah.
You know, and those movies have been there's probably together we probably could come up with a dozen of them from back in the day. But then when Roger Rabbit came out, it was so revolutionary. Like, but wait a minute, it wasn't.
No, we've been doing this for years.
Yeah.
And didn't Space Jam come out before Roger Rabbit?
No, it came out after.
Okay. But I'm like
not 3 or 4 years. Maybe a little bit longer than that, but not too much longer.
But yeah, we were watching the show, and I might have been a little bit skyward after an edible. But I was like going, this is pretty intense for Disney. And my wife, who was sober, was like, yeah. Because she doesn't like scary movies.
Okay.
But I would put this more on the thriller level than scary. Because it's not really scary. I mean, it has paranormal things in it, but it's not really. It's
Is it like Scooby-Doo level scary?
No, I would put it more on the Freddy Krueger level.
Okay.
Because I mean, Freddy Krueger never scared
me. One time it did for me.
Everything scared you.
I mean, but that was because I had a Nightmare on Street 3 Dream Warriors poster on my wall, and a lightning storm woke me up, and my room was lit up by lightning. It's like 3 a.m, and the first thing I see is Freddy Krueger, and that startled the hell out of me. It couldn't have been like all the women that were bent over Lamborghinis on all the other posters on my walls. Right. It had to be that one that I saw. Right.
But you know what? Just that scene right there is straight out of an 80s horror movie. That's why it scared you so much.
Exactly. It was a jump scare.
It was a jump scare with a prelude to what could possibly happen next.
Right. If I go back to bed, will he be there?
Right. I mean, that's the only part about Nightmare on Elm Street that kind of got me. Is like, oh, they can do this shit to me in my dreams.
Yeah.
I mean, Jason scared me a hell of a lot more than Freddy Krueger did.
Yeah, because you couldn't kill him.
Right.
He died at the end of every movie, and he came back to life the next one.
Yeah, but I mean, after watching the first one, I think I was like maybe 12 or 13. For a while, I had to look underneath my bed before I went to sleep because of the whole Kevin Bacon scene.
Oh yeah, the
arrow through the neck.
that's. I'm glad you said that too, because like Kevin Bacon was in that movie and dies. Johnny Depp was killed by Freddy Krueger.
Yep.
Let's see. Wasn't oh shoot. The Corey Feldman, wasn't he in one of the? He was also in a Friday the 13th movie, like the fourth one.
No, it was Corey Haim.
Haim.
They're both in it. But he didn't die in them.
Right.
I want to say they were. Maybe it was just Corey Feldman, but I thought Corey Haim was in one and shaved his head and acted like he was Jason in one of them.
That sounds familiar. I wish my son was here. He just recently he went back and watched all of them except for the first one, like just this last month.
Oh.
And okay, here you go. Okay. I mean, there's so many things that I appreciate about how my son turned out and his choices and a lot of things, but he watched all of the Friday the 13th ones that he liked. Meant he watched all of them but the first one.
Well, the first one didn't have Jason anyways.
It does for a brief moment at the very end, but
right.
but it was like it was still a good movie.
Yeah, it was.
I liked it.
Scared the shit out of me.
Exactly.
I'm going through trying to see if it was Corey Haim or Corey Feldman, because now it's bugging me. Oh, Corey Haim was in Watchers. Remember that?
Watchers.
The Dean Koontz.
Oh yeah. Okay. Huh.
That was a while ago.
That was a weird movie.
Yep. Okay, maybe it wasn't him.
So
Search this page. Go ahead.
now we're talking about horror films, and it's a frequent topic that we talk about. There's a lot of people that give Halloween 3 a lot of slack.
Yeah.
Or a lot of, I can't say slack, flack, I guess. A lot of people hate the movie, and because one, it doesn't have Michael Myers. Now, John Carpenter's original idea for Halloween was not Michael Myers.
Right.
He wanted a slasher in the first one, and it was a cliffhanger, and the first one was so highly successful that they moved on and got another, did another one. Well, then they did 3, Season of the Witch. And
right.
I think a lot of people, I think if you hate this movie, it's because of that damn Silver Shamrock commercial. 3 more days to Halloween, Halloween, Halloween. 3 more days to Halloween, Silver Shamrock. If you don't know it, that does get at you, but that's part of the charm of the movie. Is it's a countdown to when these masks are gonna go off while these kids watch this commercial, and then they're gonna kill their parents.
Right.
But go ahead.
I just did you know that there was a sequel to The Lost Boys?
No.
Yeah, Lost Boys the Tribe came out in 2008. Another one came out
in 2000. Yeah. I do remember that now. It was like
and Lost Boys the Thirst.
It was I didn't know about that one. The Tribe I do remember. I never watched it, but I remember it came straight to Netflix.
Right. Yeah, Corey Feldman was in both of them.
Okay.
I didn't know about him, so I was like, whatever.
I never watched. I knew about the second one, but the third one, no.
Right. It was Corey Feldman in Friday the 13th: A New Beginning in 1985.
Okay.
He was also in the final chapter. So yeah, he was the one that was in. I was wrong, but he would have been the one that shaved his head and tried to act like he was Jason.
Okay.
To trick Jason.
Well, okay. Now it's the final chapter, and I know the original intention of, as soon as they started making all these sequels to Friday the 13th, was to get to 13 and call it good.
Right.
They didn't quite make it, and then they rebooted the whole thing, and it sucked. So then they just kind of stopped. But with the latest trilogy of Halloween movies, now the first one, Halloween Begins, I think it was Begins something, Halloween Begins, Kills, Ends, or something like that.
Yeah.
Anyway, they all have Jamie Lee Curtis in them. They're all had a Eastbound and Down star. What's his name now? Like I said,
Clint Eastwood.
No.
Eastbound and Down, Road in Texas.
No, he's Danny McBride.
Okay.
The comedian.
Yep.
Comic actor. He had a lot to do with the latest trilogy. Now, what I loved about this trilogy is everything from the end of the second movie to the beginning of this last trilogy didn't exist.
Right.
So in H2O, Laurie Strode became like a college professor, and yada yada yada. None of that shit happened.
Right.
She's PTSD as fuck. Okay. Yeah. It's a great movie. It re-energized my love affair for the Halloween franchise.
Right.
The second one, pretty good. Not quite as good as the first one, but then you knew it was pretty good because you knew it was going to be finalized in one more. There's going to be one more. Right. And that movie was straight up dog shit.
Oh.
The third one was straight up dog shit. It was horrible.
So since we're on the topic of horror movies, have you watched The Pope's Exorcist on Netflix with what's his name?
I have not.
Actually, it's pretty good.
I've heard some good things about it.
I watched it at work one day. Because like I try to have like I'll have my laptop up and have Netflix on and play horror movies at work for the month of October.
There you go.
Granted, I've been home more than I've been at work this month.
Oh, I wish I could say the same.
Yeah, my pocketbook doesn't.
That's the reason why I still go.
Right. But yeah, that's if there's any artists out there listening, there's better money in art to be made than by doing commissions.
Oh, okay. We're gonna go down this path. All right.
Yep. So the reason I say that is, yes, you can make good money doing commissions, but making the client happy with your work is almost impossible because unless you're a psychic, you can't see what's in their head. Mm-hmm. And trying to replicate from their words, even like I've had clients that were, had a very strong vocabulary and could, get through what they wanted. But then when I'd make what they told me they wanted, they're like, oh yeah, you made what I wanted, but that's not the style I wanted.
I know what you mean. I've dealt with that doing web design. I had a guy that sketched out something in an Adobe product. He's like, this is what exactly how I want my website to be. I'm like, okay. So trying to recreate a sketch in HTML and CSS to look like that, and you get it really close. He's like, that's not what I wanted.
Mm-hmm.
Then you have to make little concessions because of the limitations of the programming that I'm using.
Right.
Oh, well, and then I don't know how many hours I spent on building that stupid website. He ended up going out and just creating a stupid quick Wix for free website and called that good instead. Right. So spent all this time, only got paid for part of it, just the initial deposit to get started. And yeah. I understand.
I mean, the thing, like the last commission I did, I wasn't happy with the final results either. So I did not blame the client.
Mm-hmm.
And I even knocked $100 off the price because neither one of us were happy with it.
Yeah.
But then again, I wasn't expecting to deal with like 6 hours worth of technical difficulties through the whole thing either.
Oh, well, yeah, that's never.
But the one, like the commission I had before that, okay, like on the back of your vehicle, you have those stick figure families.
Mm-hmm.
Guy wanted that, but then singing like in a church choir type thing.
Okay.
I did exactly that, and he's like, no, that's not what I wanted. I'm like, what are you talking about? This is exactly it. And his problem was because I had their eyes closed and their mouth open because they're singing.
Oh.
I mean, yes, it could have looked like something else, but how else are you going to show that a stick figure is singing?
Right.
And I had little music notes and stuff in there to show that too. And no, I don't want that in there. I'm like, okay. So you just want them to look like they're all giving head?
Okay, yeah, that's probably what they'll end up looking like, huh?
Yep. So I was at that point, I'm like, okay. Then he paid me for my time and we parted ways. I said, at this point, I don't think I can give you what you want because I don't understand what you want.
Yeah. You can't articulate it to me, then I can't put it on paper.
Right. And he had given me a $75 down payment. And I mean, these were just sketches and stuff like that. So I was like, that's good enough. Just let's part ways. I don't need anything else.
Yeah.
But I mean, you can create your own art, sell it at craft shows and stuff like that. Make sure you find the right one. So don't go to like a commission on aging craft show thinking you're going to sell your art because you're not.
True.
You want to go to these ones that are held at like Dow Gardens in Midland, their museum or their art museum will have like art shows or craft shows like that in their parking lot like once a summer. Those are the places you want to go to try to sell your art. For one, it's a richer community. They got the money to spend.
Mm-hmm.
For two, it's probably going to appeal to them more. It's going to appeal to somebody in a smaller rinky-dink town.
Yeah.
Who has no money to buy it from you.
Right.
And like in the state I'm in, I recommend pretty much any town up and down the coast of the Great Lakes in the Lower Peninsula. If you're in the Upper Peninsula during the summertime, yes. During the winter, you ain't selling shit.
True.
Summertime, you get all those tourists and stuff like that, but yeah.
Every time it's hard to bring home a painting on a snowmobile.
True. And getting your beer mixed up with it too.
Yeah.
But yeah. So I'm like, that to me was a lesson learned. I am no longer doing commission work unless it is exactly how I want to do it. Because like the thing about that last one I did was I couldn't stand the thing I put at the bottom, but that's what they wanted. And I'm like, it takes away from the rest of the picture.
Okay.
And so I was like, I don't like it, but you do, so I'll leave it. And then I think when I added the color into it, that's what turned them off from it. And I get it. I didn't like it, so I didn't expect them to either. I sent it out. Basically, I had an anxiety attack overnight, and then woke up the next day to the email saying, "Yeah, that's not you. You definitely created what I asked for, but it's not the style it fits with the rest." And I'm like, I didn't like it either.
Did she give you like beforehand like this is the style we want? Okay.
And I did that style, but it was after playing with color lookup and stuff like that. I think I screwed myself by putting too much into it because it made it darker.
Okay.
But I was worried about it being too light and too bright with lights shining on it.
And then have it wash out.
Yeah. So that was my concern. But at that point, I was so done with that piece. I was like, okay, cool. I don't have to touch it again. I'm just going to delete it and never look at it again.
Oh, gotcha.
Because it was all done digitally. It's not like it's wasting any room anywhere else except for in my memory.
Yeah. Oh man. It's funny. Like you still do commission work, up till now. A lot of people are choosing to try to find an AI program to do a lot of other things.
Right.
Now, and I know I got into this discussion with people a little bit ago about, what if these AI programs get sentient? So I just want to go on record and say this right now. The chances of ChatGPT going sentient and taking over anything is 0 to fucking nothing.
Right.
Here's why. These AI programs that we have right now that we're calling AI aren't really AI. And what do I mean by that? Think of them as super search engines.
Okay.
Now, what you write everything that's in there and it breaks it down. How does it break it down? Well, we have all sorts of programs. Even Word will do this. You have Grammarly. You have all this that will break down the sentence structure and either tell you this is how it should be said, or this is, so it changes and it understands what you're writing, right?
Right.
So they use a basis like that to pick up what you put in your prompt. Okay, what you type in.
Right.
Then it breaks that down. So what does it do? It breaks it down and understands what you're looking for, and then it searches the web to find pieces that fit your mold.
Right.
Then it compiles all of them and then gives you a somewhat coherent response to what you type in.
Right.
So really what like especially like Perplexity or Chat GPT or there's other ones. There's Adobe Firefly, there's Trinka, there's Rax AI, Guide AI, Auto GPT. There's tons of them.
Right.
Not really AI, they're algorithms to search what you're looking for.
Right.
They're basically Google on steroids.
Right.
And they piece it all together to give you a like an original response.
Right.
So it's like the chance of any of these things actually going sentient and taking over the world are slim to none. Now,
right.
what I am going to say is those are the ones that you find online right now. And nobody would put one of these out there if they were truly like Skynet.
Right.
Because they're not that stupid.
Right.
I'm not saying that they don't have those type of programs and they're not working on those type of programs, but the AI, the artificial intelligence programs that we have access to that we play with, like I play with almost on a daily basis because I find it fun, is they're just huge search engines. Now, what they are though is they are a detriment to creative individuals.
Yes.
And why I say that is people like yourself who create realistic individual art. Somebody like myself who does not, I can go in and say, hey, I want two dragons fucking on a big mushroom in the style of Craig Hutchins, and it'll create an image based on searching all of your imagery, dragons and mushrooms, and then compiling them just like the other programs do with words.
Mm-hmm.
Will do with images. Now, why that's bad is they're taking your life's work and allowing other people to use it.
Right.
And that's where things like Mid-Journey and some of these others that create images that it's trending towards bad.
Well, the thing is, though, it's like I have yet to see any AI generated art that I could not say that I couldn't look at and go, I can't tell. To me, I can tell they're AI generated. But I've looked at a lot of art in my life. I mean, in hindsight, part of me is going, shit, I should just use that AI program to create that fucking backdrop and be done with it.
Right.
But that I have integrity. I can't do that.
Now, I saw a bunch of sorry, I'm under the weather. I saw a bunch of videos on YouTube about taking using these programs and then making products out of them that are print on demand, and then they're drop shipped, right?
Right.
So I did this. And it's Jason sells stuff on Etsy. You can go there, and I've created a whole bunch of coffee mugs. Now I have two kinds of. There's no real rhyme or reason to the stuff that I created, but the one thing that I created I thought was kind of fun, and I actually have some sales on this one, are coloring book coffee mugs. They're black and white lines where you can take a marker and you can color on your coffee mug while you're sitting there just drinking your coffee, right?
Right.
So I sold one to an individual in Germany. It took forever to get there, and when they got there, it's like I made no mention of crayons in the ad. All pissed off because the crayons didn't come with it. Like the mug. Read it. Mug.
Right.
They liked the mug, but they're still pissed off. And so if they were going to leave me, they wanted to leave me a bad comment about the crayons. And I also, in my reply, it's like I wouldn't recommend coloring on the ceramic mug with crayon because how are you going to get it off? Do it again, So I recommended markers.
Yep. Well, I mean, crayon just basically like a razor blade, scrape it off.
Yeah. But more than likely, the printing probably would have came off as a razor blade too. So
more than likely, yes.
So,
but yeah, I mean, you really got. I mean, I don't buy something unless I read, see what all is included.
yeah. So now I have to go back and put on all those crayons or markers are not included.
Yeah, because I'm like it. To me, it's common sense. I mean, yeah, you can go to Michael's and buy these ceramic kits of these pumpkins and stuff like that to paint, and they'll come with a cheap ass brush and some cheap ass paint in there.
Right.
I like when I'll buy those things every once in a while because it's calming to me to sit and paint this stuff. And first thing I do is throw the paintbrush and the paint away and use mine.
Yeah.
Their paint and their paintbrush. They have the synthetic paintbrushes, so they're basically like plastic bristles. They suck. Don't ever use them for anything. Maybe brushing dust off something or something like that. That's about all they're good for.
Little archaeological dig in the backyard with kids.
Yep. Yeah. So I'd stay away from that. But you know, it is what it is. I mean, to me, sitting down, coloring and stuff like that is relaxing as hell. And very therapeutic.
Yeah. And that's okay, in this post-COVID world that we live in where everybody's still, in their own little world still, you need that. You need some calming therapeutic.
Yeah. I mean, I've got an app on my phone, which is basically just a giant never-ending coloring book.
Oh, nice.
That's updated every day and everything like that. And it's cool because after you color it, when you finish it, it'll automatically go back to the original image and then fill in the areas that you colored in the pattern that you colored it. Oh. So now when I color them, I'm like, okay, how do I want this movie part to play out when I'm done? Because like if you do like a Mandela or something like that, I'll do it so it does this and
oh, cool.
Basically vortex in the middle. Then I'll make my wife watch some of them.
Nothing wrong with that.
Nope. I mean, to me, it's just, and you get digital colors, so it's very vivid, vibrant colors, which some are really hard to replicate with anything else.
True. I remember I had this class when I was going to school for web design, and we had this Flash animation class. Now, we think we were the last class to actually take a Flash class because Flash was taboo. It was at the time. We were still learning it. It was still a cool animation thing, but websites were super vulnerable being made with it. So it's like, oh, that's Flash? No. So anyway, we did that. We had to color a scene just using Flash and the tools that they offered. He wouldn't allow us to put it into Photoshop or anything else. We had to do it all strictly with Flash. Now, coloring with Flash wasn't the easiest thing because you were supposed to actually create your images in another program and import them in. But I decided to do this. I found one I thought would be really simple. It was a foghorn leghorn scene. I spent hours coloring this, and then the instructor's like, "Anyone want to share theirs?" And a couple people did. It was like the guy did it was like a sun, literally just a sun, a smiley face sun. And it was like the whole thing was yellow,
right?
Like some blue eyes or something like that. It's like that's all we had to do. I'm like, how about this one? I showed him the whole class went, well, I know what you did this weekend. I thought that's what the assignment was.
Right. Yeah, that would. I mean, even though I'm coloring stuff digitally on my Cintiq, like to color a whole image is at least a day's worth of work to me.
Yeah.
One whole sheet, like comic book page, I could do about one comic book page a day. I mean, I'm sure I'll get faster as I get better at it and get more used to it and find different shortcuts.
Right.
But it's, to me, because there's so many times, like, even with my own art, when I'm adding color to it, I have to go back in and fix the lines.
Mm.
Or I have to do something to the original artwork because, okay, you did this whole thing, but these two lines don't meet. So now it doesn't make sense. So I got to fix it.
Right.
Because like one of the guys that I use here, I'll see if I can pull one up and then share it with you. His last name is Kirby. I don't remember his first name, but he does adult coloring books. Let's see if I can find it. Yeah, here's the one I did for my sister, and this one took me I think 2 days. Oh, I'm getting it load up and stuff. All right, now let me share. Okay.
And adult coloring books are actually pretty big right now.
Yeah.
Oh,
but
wow.
I mean, yeah, you're looking at this, and there were some of these lines that didn't meet up, and I had to go in and fix them. But because like when I'm coloring an area, like say I'm coloring this leaf, I will take this color and go around the leaf and then use the fill bucket to fill it in and use other colors to add depth and value. But when the lines don't match up, it's hard to do that. So you have to fix the line work before you can do any more.
Right.
One thing I like about his is if you look down here on this skull, down by where my cursor's at, he has little hidden things in here. Like there's a card net. A lot of them will have fairies in them too.
Oh, wow.
And they almost all of them have skulls in them. Like I titled this one Butterfly Skull. And I always basically just use a gradient tool for the backgrounds.
Makes sense.
That's why it's lighter up here than darker down here. Plus the light goes with the lighter colors up here, the dark with the darker colors down there. It's that the complementary and contrast.
Makes sense.
That's why the yellows with the red and the reds against the blue. There's a little color theory for everybody. Okay. All right. But yeah, I mean, to me, that's hours worth of work because I've got to zoom way in, check all the line work, make sure all the line work is good. Because I always multiply the image, the original image, so that way it makes the lines a little bit solider and darker. And I go and do that, and I'm like I did for when I was in school. One of my old professors at mid that I went to gave me one of his comic book pages that I could put in my portfolio that I added color to. And he's a very talented artist, but I even had to do it with his.
Yeah.
And I'm not immune from it either, because like I've drawn things and go through and add color into it. And like, oh, like the last commission I did, I said, okay, this is just line work. The line work is wonky. It'll get fixed when I add the color. Because when I added the color, I got rid of all the line work because there is no line work in realism.
True.
So I told her, I'm like, I mean, don't look at the sloppy lines. Look at the overall image. When I add color, it's going to straighten all this out. I mean, because some of it was crooked, but with that whole shift and drag across, straight line, you're good to go.
Right. I was my son's mom has this. She had a tattoo. It's an image of a sun, kind of like the one that was on the Sublime album. But she went through several tattoo artists because she didn't want lines in it at all. It's like there shouldn't be a single line in this. This should just be done. And it took her 3 or 4 tattoo artists before the person would finally go, "Oh yeah, that makes sense." So like she walked away from several just because they wanted, oh well, just it's got to have some black around it. No, I don't. No black.
Right. Well, and the reason why they do that is because the colors fade, and then you're going to lose the entire shape of it after so many years.
I mean, obviously, I haven't seen it in years because it's back, but
right. But I mean, it also depends on the size too. Especially if it's little and there's no line work to it, within like 5 years, it's just going to be a blob of color.
It's about the size of a baseball.
Okay, so that's pretty decent size. Yeah, I mean, like the I'll be at work some days, and then a slow day, I will sit there and draw. Just because why not practice? I got downtime. I'm at work. Makes the day go by quicker. So I'll do that. And right next door to us is a tattoo shop, and the owner will come in. And it's like, "Oh, what are you doing?" I'm like, "Just drawing." He's like, looks at it. He's like, "Oh, you're gonna have to come over next door and da da da." I said, "No." He's like, "Why not? They're making mad stacks." I'm like, "I like canvases that do not move. I like canvases that do not have body odor. I like canvases that don't talk."
So when I had my initial consultation with my arm, it was a little distracting because right in the front window was a girl getting her upper inner thigh done, and the girl was sitting next to her, like rolled over and tattooing, and her face was
Right
6-8 inches away from her skin, but it was like it was kind of distracting because it's like yeah, that's going on right there.
right.
we're talking about this here, but that okay. And
right.
the only thing they had between the window from outside to see it, watching this, this poor girl, because I failed to mention the fact that she had no pants on. So
I
there
kind of
was
assumed
that aspect of it too. She was really attractive, so there was that aspect of it too.
right.
But the only thing was a really small, like those Asian foldy curtain thing that wasn't covering it. It wasn't blocking anybody from seeing it because it was only like 4.5 feet wide. It was by the window. The window's 8 feet. So, like, okay.
If she's in there getting a tattoo like that, she probably wants everybody to look at her anyways.
Exactly.
I'm not trying to be rude, but I mean, to be realistic, if I had a smoking hot body, I'd want people to see it.
One of the coolest tattoos I saw that was like that was like tension was this girl that had an ivy vine that started at her between her big toe and her second toe. It started there and went wrapped around her left leg and went all the way up her back and then across her shoulders.
Oh wow.
I mean, it was intricate, and it had to have taken a long time, but they stopped it at the bottom and then just kept going. So it was like it was growing over time.
Yep. It's like one of those Ink Master final canvases. Oh. Well, we've done about an hour of this, so folks, I know it was weird format, but sometimes we got to do that. We got to rejuvenate the brains, and both of us being under the weather, it was just easier to do this than it was to research something that we had no desire to look at.
Yeah, and we had a variety of topics. The movie MASH, horror films, artwork, web design, tattoo,
Mandela effect.
Mandela effect.
Yeah.
So we
run the gambit.
So, but like we don't do all the research. We want sometimes to do things to make you inspire you to look up them. So go look up all those things.
Yeah, why not? It's always, I mean, you never know what's the next rabbit hole you're going to go down. For me lately, it's been people canoeing and hiking and camping in northern Canada. Oh. on like 10, 11-day trips.
Nice.
Like that would be awesome to me. It's either that or like today was watching Bad Cops Get Caught.
Oh, I watch those a lot.
Yep. And I'm not anti-police. I mean, there's something we need. We need the police.
Look this up. There's a Canadian kid with a mullet that takes down 3 cops and a supervisor because they it was something, I don't even remember what it was. It was something stupid about he was driving on the highway or something. It was something that they would have had to have done themselves just to get to here. And he's like, yeah, he would just cursing him out, calling him stupid. It's just, but he's funny while he's doing it. Like he's trashing this, and it happens in Canada. It happened in Canada. He's completely trashing this cop to his face, and the cop is having a hell of a time not laughing.
Okay, bud.
Yeah, but it wasn't like that. It's like if they wouldn't have said it was in Canada, I wouldn't have known.
Right.
Oh, that's what it was. He had it was his truck on the description that when they pull up his license plate, it says the truck was white, but he had a whole bunch of stuff like spray painted on it, like fuck the police and all this other stuff. And what his argument was, they were saying, well, your truck's not the original color, so you're gonna have to go back to the color that's listed here, or you're gonna have to change it on here. He's like, he's like, you can't tell me that your car is the same color it was when it came off the assembly line either, and your car's got writing on the side.
Oh, I got one for you. One that, and of course it happened in Florida. This lady, this one might not have happened in Florida. One of the more recent ones I did happen in Florida, but this lady is videotaping outside of a court building.
Oh, the audit stuff.
Well, guy came out, confiscated her camera, told her it was illegal to film the court building. And this is where the cops get busted, because then they're both summoned in to do a deposition. And they're asked questions like, is recording a public building illegal? I don't know. Well, the answer is no, it isn't. At what point can you detain somebody or arrest somebody? I don't know. And you're a lieutenant? Yeah. How long have you been in the police? Oh, I've been in the police for 26 years. And how long have you been a lieutenant? For 22 years. And you don't know when you can detain somebody? So they were both nailed for illegal arrest of this woman who was videoing the court building. And she was outside. She wasn't even inside. Just because it was suspicious to them.
I've seen some of those. Lady was walking through the police department parking lot.
Yeah.
Doing the same thing. And there was another one where somebody was videotaping a stop, and the police were trying to, he was on the sidewalk. He was far enough away from him. I've watched a few of those videos. They're interesting.
Yep.
It's kind of, I learned quite a bit about it.
Well, what I learned today is a lot of cops don't know what the laws are.
Exactly.
I'm like, I would think that was one of the required. I mean, I know when my son went through the state trooper academy, one of his tests were on the laws. So he had to know them.
Right.
But these people have been on the force for 20 some years. Things were different back then.
And things have changed over the years.
Yes. Yeah, like being recorded.
Yeah.
I mean, times that you see like these traffic stops where they pull over a cop that's inebriated, and he's like, "Hey, can you turn the camera off?" No, I can't do that.
Yeah, you can't do it now that you asked that on camera.
Right. But I mean, it goes to show what they got away with back in the day. Where they'd pull over another cop that was drunk and be like, just get home, all right?
Yeah. Well, we had in Ithaca that one year, this was years ago, a cop was crashed the dare car, and another cop drove him home.
Yep.
So that was interesting. It was an IROC too. It was they confiscated it from somebody, and then they kept it turning it into the dare car.
Nice.
The vehicle that we stole from somebody else.
Yeah, that drug
drink and drive in it and crash it.
And drugs paid for that car.
Exactly. Yeah, we wouldn't have it if it wasn't for drugs.
Right. But anyway,
don't do drugs, kids. They never pay unless you want an IROC.
Right. That'll probably be some other episode somewhere down the line. But let's wrap this up.
All right. So on that note, I'm going to say goodbye before I cough again.
All right. Peace out, people. Love you.
Bye-bye.